Hi, everyone. Welcome to the community classroom. This is Dr. Tracey McCarthy, psychologist, attorney, and educator, and we are going to be talking about the issue of identity politics versus legal reality. This is a session for men only. And so we are going to be focusing on a number of issues. Very quickly, we're going to be talking about the structure of law, the creation of law, the interpretation of law, and the purpose of law and order on a microsystemic level and a macrosystemic level, and the issue of boundaries. And so let's dig in here. There is a lot of public discourse about doing things such as doing away with law enforcement and doing away with ICE and doing away with the military. Well, let me give you a reality check here. The purpose of the government is to serve as what is known as the father of the country. It's also known as parens patriae. And the purpose of parens patriae is to secure the rights and the security and the protection of the people. It's a part of the social contract. Now, a part of this conversation about doing away with these larger forms of law and order is also this idea of doing away with men or doing away with the fathers in the homes and in the communities. Now, when a sovereign has good order, good law and order, things function in decency and order. I'm not talking about a tyrannical form of order or a tyrannical form of government. I'm talking about the form of government that creates a sense first of security. And with security, the people, the family, the community, the sovereign can have prosperity. And by prosperity, I mean health and wholeness. When you have security and prosperity, you also have what is known as peace. Now, there's a lot of rhetoric in youth culture about this idea of creating anarchy and having no boundaries, having no rules, no sense of order, no sense of being corralled in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And this is a misguided and misinformed assumption about the way that the world operates, that the way that the world operates in a healthy manner, I should say. There is no large sovereign, there is no small sovereign that does not provide for what is known as the common defense, whether you're talking on a micro level or on a larger macro level. So on the local level or on the micro level, what you have in terms of quote unquote law enforcement, you have the parents and of the household, and often the father will serve as the provider for the common defense, if you will. And then on a local level, you have the neighborhood police. And so the neighborhood police, their job is to provide for the common defense of the neighborhood. Now, I know some people are going to say, oh, but we've had such tyrannical police as of late. There will always be rogue people in whatever human endeavor you were talking about. There will always be some individual or some individuals in any endeavor in life that are doing things that they have no business doing. The focus needs to be on doing what is supposed to be done and making sure that you have people in place, from fathers to police to military, who are doing what they are supposed to be doing, which is security, prosperity, peace. Okay, so on the state level, you have what's known as the militia. That militia is run by the government. The local police are usually run by the mayor. That's the executive, the chief executive. And at the federal level, you have the military run by the chief executive officer, which would be the president. Now, reality does not allow for the playing of identity politics. Legal reality does not allow for that. The fact of the matter is this: if you cannot protect yourself, if you cannot defend yourself, if you cannot establish healthy, wholesome boundaries, you will be taken over. There's a reason you have locks on your doors. There's a reason you have locks on your cars. There's a reason you have locks on your businesses. If you do not create that boundary, those who do not respect boundaries will encroach on whatever your space happens to be. Now, let me tell you a little story about a wild cat. Since we've been talking about wildcats anyway, tell you a little story about wildcats. There's one wildcat that when it seeks to take over, it annihilates the male that is already there in order to mate with the female and create its own new country, its own new kingdom, okay, in big cat terms. The other thing that it does is it destroys the children. But in order to destroy the children and take over and create this new thing, the male big cat had to be destroyed first. In slave societies where there are slaves, there is often a push for castration of certain males. They are turned into what are known as eunuchs. And with creating eunuchs, you create a sense of emasculation. And with emasculation, you create an entity that has a more difficult time with defending the people, with defending the borders, with defending the sovereign. If you look on the page, you will see that there's a collective, there's a collage, and you can see that across the world, it doesn't matter what culture you're talking about, it doesn't matter what country you're talking about, countries all provide for the common defense. Cities provide for their common defense. Families provide for their common defense. And so there's another psychology behind attacks on males. One of the things, I don't know if you follow historically what happens sometimes in societies where they go after male babies. And so you will have infanticide where male babies are sought out and the male babies are destroyed. And part of the destroying of the male babies is to create a vulnerability in that culture, in that structure. You know, even on a micro level, sometimes parents, in providing for the common defense of that entire household, they sometimes have to put out their misbehaving adult children who are living in the household if those adult children are creating havoc. They will remove them from the premises in order to reestablish order. It's the same way that some people are removed from society and placed in incarceration sometimes. They are removed from society in order to theoretically reestablish what is known as law and order. Now, some people, of course, want to do away with law and order and everything that represents law and order because they believe that it's unfair. Well, the response to unfairness is not necessarily to do away with an entire system. You don't throw out the baby with the bathwater after you finish bathing the baby. If the system is not working efficiently, you find ways to create systems that work more efficiently. You find ways to make sure that the systems are operating in decency and in order. You don't just eradicate a system. Identity politics can play a pivotal role in terms of the health of a community, of a family, of a nation. The fact of the matter is this: if there are people who advocate for the destruction of men, the destruction of fathers, the destruction of all forms of law and order, those entities do not have the best interest of the sovereign at heart. They do not have the best interest of society at heart. They do not have the best interest of communities at heart. That is the psychological reality, that is the social reality, that is the legal reality. Remember, knowledge is power. Take care and see you soon.